Okay, so we're going to start today with ophthalmology, and then the next subject we're going to see is going to be the ENT, and finally we will start with OB/GYN today. Is that okay? Okay. So ophthalmology might be a smaller topic, but it comprises of a lot of questions. At least 15 to 20 MCQs you might expect in your paper for ophthalmology. So there is something that you might have to know other than what's given in the notes. So I'm proper lecture as a quick proper lecture. So I want you to know what I start to develop in 3 weeks. Can everyone hear me? I'm getting some interruption. Can everyone see the screen? Can everyone see the screen now? Okay, I request all of you not to open the video or not to unmute yourself, because that is interrupting with my lecture. So suddenly my screen shuts down. So please do not interrupt during the lecture. Okay. Okay, I repeat. So we're going to start with ophthalmology. The first thing is the development of the eye. So the MCQ point you need to know is development of eye starts to take place at the week of 3. So the mnemonic you need to know, I is a E, means you need to know it's a 3. So I starts to develop at 3, the reversal of E. Okay, so the eye begins to develop the first part, which is optical vesicle. So I means 3, I means optical vesicle, 3V, optical vesicle. Okay, on each side of forebrain at the end of 4th week of pregnancy. So from 3rd week to 4th week, it is going to develop optic vesicle. So this optic vesicle is outgrowing in the brain, which makes contact with the surface ectoderm, and this contact induces changes necessary for further development of eye. So there's going to be a groove at the bottom of the optic vesicle, which is known as choroid fissure, through which the blood vessels enters the eye. Okay, so the neural tube, neural crest, surface ectoderm, mesoderm, they all contribute to the development of the eye. So overall, if you see, this here is a picture of the development of eye. So these are optic grooves. This is going to be the part which is forebrain. This part is a forebrain. This part is the optic groove. When they form and they close, they are going to form the optic vesicle. This picture is not important. The points I said is important. So all you need to know, remember is I means third week, I means optic vesicle. So this is the first thing for development of eye. Third week optic vesicle. I hope I'm clear here. Okay. So on every week something is going to happen. So we're going to see from day 25. So day 25, that is the third week, optic vesicle evaginate, we just saw. So day 28, optic vesicle induces the lens placode from surface ectoderm. Very important MCQ. Induces lens placode. So day 28, that is week 4. So week 3, you are going to remember vesicle. Week 4, you are going to remember lens placode. Week 4, you are going to remember lens placode. Week 5 to 6, something around day 30, 33. So week 5.5, I can say, or week 5.5, you must remember lens separate completely from cornea. So lens is separate now. Lens is separate now. I make another round, that is cornea. Lens is separate, cornea is separate. So lens and cornea are separated on 5.5 weeks. So this is concerned about the weeks. So this is very important for your MCQ. Okay. Then on 6th week, neural crest migration happens. So 6th week migration. 6th week migration. You need to remember this. 6th week migration. I repeat. Third week means vesicle. Fourth week means lens placode. 5.5 weeks means lens and cornea separates. 6th week means migration. 6th week means migration. So these are all the MCQ you need to know regarding the weeks in development of eye. So these weeks are important for your MCQ. After that, whatever comes, that is not much important for your MCQ. So these weeks are important. So after these weeks, only 3 points I'm going to say regarding the months. So if you want, you can remember, that is optional. But if you remember, I think that would be better. Okay. So the first point I'm going to say is 4th month. So in 4th month, maximum number of axons are seen in optic nerve, which is going to be 3.7 million. Maximum number of axons are seen in optic nerve. Then the next is 7th month. In 7th month, myelination of optic nerves begin. Myelination of optic nerves begin. And in 8th month, someone's mic is on, turn it off please. And in 8th month, adult number of axons are seen in optic nerve. So these 3 points. Out of these 3 also, you must remember the 4th and 8th month specifically. So maximum optic nerve, maximum axon, 4th month. Please everyone turn your mute, everyone mute your phone, mute your laptop or phone, please. I could hear a lot of voices. I'm not able to teach here. Okay. So when it comes to months, 4th month and 8th month are important. So you must remember 4th month means maximum axons 8th month means axon. So 4th month means maximum axon, 8th month means adult axon. So maximum axons in optic nerve is going to be 3.7 million. Adult number of axons is going to be 1.1 million. 1.1 million. So fourth, this is regarding months. So I repeat, weeks means 3rd week's vesicle, 4th week's lens placode, 5.5 weeks lens and cornea separates, 6th week migration, 4th month is maximum axon, 8th month is adult axon. So these 6 points, if you know, I think that should be fine enough for your exam. Okay. Then comes the embryologic structure and adult structure. So when it comes to embryologic and adult structure, only this vitreous I want you to focus on. So primary vitreous becomes Mittendorf dot, Cloquet canal, Bergmeister papilla, out of which if you forget Bergmeister papilla, that's okay. Cloquet canal and Mittendorf dot are for MCQS. Secondary vitreous becomes vitreous body, tertiary becomes vitreous base and zonules. The main important two MCQs are Cloquet canal is a derivative of primary vitreous, and vitreous body is a derivative of secondary vitreous. Only these two also, if you remember, I think that should be fine enough for your MCQ. Cloquet canal is from your primary vitreous. Vitreous body is from your secondary vitreous. Vitreous body is from your secondary vitreous. So to remember this, remember C1. So 1 means primary and V2, that is secondary. Vitreous body is secondary. C primary, V secondary. C primary, V secondary. So C1, V2, C1, V2. This is how you gotta remember this. So if you have to remember, if you do tertiary, if you forget about vitreous base, that's okay. Zone important. So T is at zonule tertiary is at 3. C1, V2 is at 3. C1, V2, Z3. Okay. Cloquet canal is primary. Cloquet canal is primary. Vitreous body is secondary. Zonule is tertiary. So C1, V2, Z3. Is that clear? Can everyone hear me? If there is any video lag or anything, please let me know now. Okay. Okay. Can you hear me now clearly? Okay. Good. Now we are going to start with the real lecture. Till now, just other than the notes, what you need to know, I said. Now, the first condition that you need to know here is a fetal alcohol syndrome. So we talked about the development of eye. We talked about in development, there's something called neural crest cell migration that occurs. So neural crest cell migration. So when this neural crest cell migration is impaired, specifically due to the alcohol consumption of mother, the child is born and it is called as fetal alcohol syndrome. Fetal alcohol syndrome. And this is just a facial expression of a child with fetal alcohol syndrome. So what you would pick up in this is the swollen face, the bony deformity in a face, along with strabismus, squint in eye. Squint in eye, squint in eye, along with bony deformity. Squint in eye along with bony deformity. So this is what you are going to see. So fetal alcohol. So definitely in your MCQ, alcohol consumption by mother would be given. So your answer should be fetal alcohol syndrome. So I don't think so they will ask fetal alcohol syndrome. They might ask what is the problem for this child. You should say neural crest migration is impaired. Impairment of neural crest cell migration. So they might give the word fetal alcohol syndrome. They might ask for where is the problem. You should say neural crest cell migration. Is that clear? Now going to the primordial ocular structures. Primordial of ocular structures. So the eye structure starts from either surface ectoderm or mesoderm, surface ectoderm or mesoderm, or neural ectoderm. So one of these three, the eye structures develop. So surface ectoderm means the word that you are going to remember is C gland. So gland for any gland, gland of Meibomian, gland of mole, gland of Zeiss, lacrimal gland. So all these four glands together. So gland is for these four glands. C is for conjunctiva, corneal epithelium, crystalline lens. Conjunctiva, corneal epithelium, crystalline lens. So C gland, that is for surface ectoderm. Okay. Next. So mesoderm means you're going to have corneal stroma, sclera, iris stroma. So you're going to remember stroma. Mesoderm means you're going to remember stroma. Okay. For stroma, I'm going to name as Roma. So Roma met muscly Roma met muscly Korean guy. Roma met muscly Korean guy. Okay. So muscly Korean. So bony Roma met muscly Korean. So bony stands for bony orbit. Roma stands for stroma, which is corneal stroma, iris stroma, iris stroma. Met is for decimate. Muscle is for extraocular muscle and ciliary muscles. Muscle is for extraocular muscle, ciliary muscle. Korean is for choroid. So you can make Korean as C. Korean is for choroid. Okay. So along with that, you must remember vitreous. Bony Roma met muscly Korean. Okay. Vitreous, you must remember along with that. Next is neural ectoderm. So sensory retinal pigment epithelium. So neural ectoderm, you have to remember pigment epithelium. Okay. And then you have to remember pupillae, P for pupillae, sphincter pupillae, dilator pupillae. Then you have to remember P for part, that is neural part of optic nerve. So 3P you are going to remember for neural ectoderm. Other than that, easily you can remember sensory retina. So sensory means it's going to be neuro. You don't have to think much. So I don't think so they'll be asking that question. And melanocyte almost never appears in your MCQ. So all you need to know is these pigment, pupillae, you're going to remember that is going to be. Along with that, only one part you are going to remember, that is going to be ciliary body epithelium. So PPP, ciliary body. So you are going to remember PCB, P ciliary body. So P for all this pigment and pupillae, and CB means ciliary body epithelium. That is for neuroectoderm. Is that clear? I repeat, surface ectoderm means C and G. G is for glands and C is for conjunctiva, corneal epithelium and crystalline lens. Okay. Mesoderm means bony roma met muscly corion. Neural ectoderm means PCB. PCB. P is for all the pigmented pupillae and neural part, and CB is for ciliary body. So if you remember CB, you will not get confused with this C, conjunctiva, corneal epithelium, and crystalline lens. Okay, and here, even though there is corneal stroma, even though there is choroid, there is ciliary muscle, you're going to remember with this mnemonic. Ciliary muscle you can remember with muscles, stroma you can remember with roma, and choroid you can remember with chorion. So I don't think so there should be any confusion in remembering this primordial ocular structure. Why I am telling this is very important and very easy MCQ this is, and lot of students make mistake out of it. So I hope there won't be any mistakes here. Am I clear here, everyone? Did you all get the mnemonics? Okay, fine. Next is something, the values, called the values. So values is something that you will have to memorize. So volume of orbit is 30 ml, volume of eyeball is 6 ml, anterior chamber depth is 3 millimeter, power of eyeball is plus 58.6 diopter, power of cornea is plus 43 diopter, power of lens is plus 16 diopter. So you have a lot of values. So these values you must memorize. There is no other option. Okay, out of which the most confusing thing is power of eyeball, power of cornea, power of lens, because easily mistake making MCQ. So as much as possible, try to focus over there. It is very essential for your MCQ. Okay. Next is angles. So angles, there is alpha, kappa and gamma. Alpha is visual plus optic. Kappa is pupillary plus visual. Kappa is pupillary plus visual. Gamma is optic plus fixation. Optic axis plus fixation. So students definitely get confused in exam when this angle is asked. So angles are very common question, very frequent questions also. So how to remember these angles is the next point. So we are going to talk, first is alpha. So remember this is alpha. So alpha means you are going to see a V over here. This is a V shape, right? So this shape is a V shape. So it's going to be a visual axis. This shape is a O shape. So it is going to be a optical axis. So if you combine this O and this V, you are getting a alpha. O plus V equals alpha. Next is kappa. So kappa means there is again a V in kappa. Here is a V in kappa. So this line you are just going to make it as a P. So pupillary axis plus visual axis. Pupillary axis plus visual axis is kappa. Is that clear? So many students used to write K like this, right? So generally, a lot of people used to write, this is how they write K. So that's what I'm trying to mention. So this is pupillary and this is visual. Pupillary plus visual. Am I clear? Next is gamma. So gamma is, I want you to write gamma like this, and you're going to extend it. So this is a F, this is a F, that is fixation. This is a O, that is optical axis. So optical axis plus fixation. Optical axis plus fixation equals gamma. So I repeat, alpha has a V and a O, kappa has a P and a V, gamma has a F and a O. Is that clear? Is this easy to memorize? So I revised it almost 3 or 4 times here, so that the ocular structures and this values you should never forget. Next is human eye anatomy. I hope all of you know the parts of human eye. So sclera, iris, cornea, pupil, lens, ciliary, body and muscle, conjunctiva, retina, optic nerve, macula, retina, blood vessel, and vitreous. So retina is over here. So the vision, whatever you see, the image is going to come and going to fall over the retina, right? So, and then the optic nerve will carry the message to the brain. So that's how you get to see a picture. So one point you need to know, if that focus of the image falls either in front of retina or behind the retina, you're going to have a problem with your power, eye power. That is positive or negative. So you will have to get corrected. So we'll talk about it later. Now, anatomy of the eye. So the cornea, so just I'm going to read out the points. The cornea lens bends the light to focus the image on the retina, we just saw. The iris and pupil regulate the amount of light entering the eye. So cornea and lens bends light. Cornea and lens bend light. Iris and pupil regulate the amount of light entering the eye. So CLB, IPR, iris and pupil regulate the amount of light entering eye. Aqueous humor maintains the convex shape. So aqueous is for maintaining the shape. Aqueous means you're going to remember shape. Vitreous humor supports the lens and also maintains the shape of entire eye. Okay, next is rods. So rods are for nighttime vision. So 125 million rods we have. Cones are for daytime and color vision. So rods for night vision, cone for color vision. Cones are 7 million in number. The most vascular part of eyeball is choroid. The most sensitive part of retina is fovea. So there is something called fovea, and surrounding the fovea is called as macula. So fovea and macula. Fovea is responsible for acute vision because it has high density of cones. The muscles that are responsible for eyelid movements are orbicularis oculi and levator palpebrae. Okay, so orbicularis oculi is supplied by cranial nerve 7, levator palpebrae by cranial nerve 3. So orbicularis is by 7, palpebrae, levator palpebrae is by 3, L3, O7, L3. Okay, lens is thinnest at its posterior pole, anterior chamber of eye is deepest at its central portion. So these are all the MCQs concerned when it comes to your anatomy. So I don't want you to skip any of these because all these points are repeated in some different patterns of examination. So I cannot say what is more important in this for your FMG. I think all these are just limited points. You should go through all the points. Okay, then comes the eye movements. So the eye movements could be, this has been very long back asked MCQ. The MCQ that was asked was saccadic eye movement. Saccadic eye movement. These are sudden jerky movements occur as gaze shift from one object to another. So you just need to know other movements also. So vestibular movement, convergence movement, and smooth pursuit movements. Vestibular, convergent, and smooth pursuit movements. So as long as FMG is concerned, at least the previously asked MCQ, sudden saccades or sudden jerky movements occurs as a gaze shift from one object to another. If you know this, that should be fine. Then comes the muscles of the eye, extraocular muscles of the eye. Regarding extraocular muscles of eye, I want you to remember this mnemonic LR6 SO4 Restall 3. LR6, that means lateral rectus is innervated by sixth cranial nerve. SO4, that is superior oblique, is innervated by fourth oblique nerve, fourth cranial nerve, and rest all three. So all the other extraocular muscles are supplied by third cranial nerve. So here is a picture. Just I don't think so you'll get this picture, just for your understanding. So this is superior oblique. So this muscle is going to be the superior oblique. This muscle is a superior rectus. Similarly, there is an inferior oblique and inferior rectus. Then this muscle is a lateral rectus. So on the other side, there's going to be a medial rectus. Okay. So then what? So they all join at a place called annulus of Zinn. That itself is a MCQ. So annulus of Zinn is a MCQ. So this is the place where all of them connects. That is annulus of Zinn. So superior oblique, superior rectus, inferior rectus, lateral rectus is here. Medial rectus is on the other side that we are not able to see. Here is the medial rectus on the other side. So this makes the eye move in whatever direction the eye wants to move. Okay. So what I'm going to do is to simplify how to answer the MCQs regarding the eye movements. So first, basic is basic. So when the eye moves towards your nose, that is medial side, it is called as adduction. When the eye moves away from your nose, it is called as lateral side, that is called as abduction. So towards is adduction. So you can simply remember, this is the nose, this is the eyes. So if the eyes are focusing on the nose, these two, this plus 2 forms a plus symbol. So they two join together here. So you're going to add. So two eyes are joining here. So this is adduction. So this is adduction. Am I clear? So eyes moving away from the nose is going to be abduction. Okay. Eyes moving up is elevation, that is superior. Eyes moving down is depression. Now, that is just a basic from a picture randomly in an MCQ. In the internet. Now, what does this muscles do? Please look at this image very carefully. If you see, the superior rectus makes the eye to move upward. The inferior rectus pulls the eye down. So you will start looking downwards. Medial rectus means you will look at the medial side. Lateral rectus means you will look at the lateral side. Superior oblique means in this direction the eye will look, which is towards your nose. So your nose is here. So in this direction you're going to see. So it's a kind of rotation towards the nose, from top to the nose. Okay. The inferior oblique, what is it going to do is, it is going to bring the eyes towards your nose again, but from the bottom. That is what your inferior oblique is going to do. So inferior oblique is going to do this movement. So overall, this is what will be asked in your MCQ. So they will ask this in a way of medical terms. There is elevation, rotation, dextrorotation, levo-rotation, like that. So different terms will be used. So for now, first understand the kind of movement. I repeat, superior rectus means up, inferior rectus means down, lateral is this side, medial is this side, no problem, right? Then comes superior rectus and inferior rectus. Superior rectus in this direction, inferior rectus in this direction. Okay, now this is a picture where you see two eyes together. Now a person has to, so this is the nose of a person. So a person has to look an object over here. So what will happen in this eye? So this eye has to see here. So the lateral rectus is going to work for this eye. So this picture is regarding this eye. So the lateral rectus is on the lateral side and medial rectus is towards the nose. When you see a mirror image, the lateral rectus for the other eye is going to be on the opposite side, right? So when this eye has to look here, the lateral rectus for this eye has to work. This is right side, this is left side. So on left side, the lateral rectus will work for looking at the image. So lateral rectus will work. So here this eye again has to look here. So the medial rectus is going to work. So on right side, medial rectus is going to work. On left side, lateral rectus is going to work. Is that clear? It might look very simple now because you have a picture in front of you. In exam, you are not going to have a picture. So they will simply say a person standing in front of you, he has to look over his left side, which muscles are going to act. So right, they might ask right inferior rectus and left lateral rectus, right medial rectus and left inferior rectus, right lateral rectus and left medial rectus, right medial rectus and left lateral rectus. If they ask this in your MCQ, then you won't be able to know what to do. So just instead of memorizing the picture, logically you must think. So imagine this is you standing in front of you, which means you are seeing a mirror. So if you turn your eyes towards the left side, please turn your eyes towards the left side. So what happens is, if you see on your left eye is turned towards the left side and also your right eye is turned towards the left side. Am I right? So what makes the left eye turns toward the left side is the lateral rectus, because that is the lateral side for the eye. Whereas for the right eye, it is going to be the medial side, because the right eye should go towards the nose. Am I right? Are you all getting me? Please try this and see. This is exactly what you are going to try when this comes in examination. So similarly, see the other side. Please everyone look at the right side and tell me what muscles are acting on the left side and right side of your eye. Please type here. Yes, right lateral rectus and left medial. Everyone got this clear? Now, what are you going to do now is, you're all going to look up and tell me what muscles are going to act when you look up. Very good, both superior rectus. All of you look down. What muscle is going to act? Both inferior rector. Is that clear? Okay, now what are you going to do is, all of you going to look up and then you're going to look on the left side in top of the roof. Look at the left side in top of the roof and tell me what muscles are being acted. Look on top on the left side. So imagine the image is somewhere here.